This is a spoiler alert. Donald Trump will not be president in 2024. And you heard this first. It's not going to happen. And here's why. And it should be obvious. He's divisive. I mean, and not only from Democrats ranging from centrist to the supposed far left of the party. Many establishment Republicans hates him as well. They don't like him because they think he's silly. They think he's lazy. They think he's mentally disturbed. And, you know, and they're pretty much correct. He is kind of, he kind of gives, in their mindset, they think he gives them a bad reputation. Now, I think that the Republican National Committee will do everything in their power to prevent his declared candidacy. And they will go, and by all means necessary, they will go and try to prevent him from actually declaring his candidacy. They will probably talk to him behind the scenes and try to convince him not to run. I believe they're probably having some dialogue already, because he's hinting that he's planning to run. I kind of do think he plans to run, but I think that there are people out there behind the scenes talking to him, trying to convince him not to run. They're going to try to prevent his candidacy from being declared and nip that in the bud. I think that the Republican National Committee will take cue from the Democratic National Committee for what they did to Bernie Sanders in 2016 and 2020. And I know I'm not trying to say Bernie Sanders is the Democratic Party's version of Donald Trump. I'm not trying to say that. But maybe the only overlap is that Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump come from an outsider's perspective, and I guess that's where the similarities are at. You know, they both provide a voice for those who feel voiceless, and in that regard, they're both similar in that regard. But you know, a bigoted billionaire, right-wing billionaire, and an elderly Jewish socialist, they're as different as night and day, honestly. But I think that what's going to happen is that the Republican Party is going to find out what it took to get Bernie Sanders defeated, and they're going to try that same approach on Donald Trump. Now, it'll be harder to do that to Donald Trump than for the Democrats what they did to Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders had a grassroots organization, and his was from the bottom up. Donald Trump has loads and loads and loads of money, and he has some powerful donors as well. So, but the base is very committed. But I'm gonna tell you, Donald Trump also has a roadblock, and that roadblock is this: one area where he was recently correct that they're going to hold that against him, when he encouraged his supporters to go and take the vaccine, and they booed at him at a rally in Alabama. I mean, for the few times he's correct about something, they boo at him and discredit him. It's just crazy. But another area where he may have some trouble, even if he can go through those roadblocks that the Republican Party will obviously be putting in front of him to try to prevent or slow down his chances of getting nominated. That what's going to happen is he recently, and I think it was a tactical mistake for Donald Trump, what he did, and that was to criticize Joe Biden for the pullout out of Afghanistan. And I say this because Donald Trump did campaign in such a way in 2016 and maybe to a lesser extent than it was in 2016, even in 2020, there is a faction of Trump supporters who are, whatever ideological background they come from, that they are at the very least anti-war and voted for Trump and supported Trump because they felt like Trump will keep us out of some of these wars abroad. That is their sentiment. So I mean, because he's not the usual, suit and tie neocon politician. And I will give him just a little bit of credit in the sense that I do think he seriously attempted to withdraw the troops out of Afghanistan, and the neocons basically tied his hands down. He's pissed and butthurt about it because Joe Biden was able to do that. And it is amazing that Joe Biden was able to do that, standing up against the military-industrial complex, to stand up against the State Department, and stand up, and do what is right. But the thing about it is that Joe Biden is trying to build a legacy himself. And he figures he's going to be a one-term president. And he gambles, and I think he's correctly gambling, that he's going to be looked upon kindly down the road, historically, for pulling out of Afghanistan. I don't care how you slice it or dice it, leaving Afghanistan was the right thing to do. And you can't convince me otherwise. It's probably going to be the only time I'm going to say, yay, Joe Biden. And the thing about it is that Trump is criticizing Joe Biden for the one issue where in policy that he was actually in pursuit of himself when he was president. And if he sits there and criticizes Joe Biden for leaving Afghanistan, what makes him different from, some of the neocons out there? He better rethink about that. He better rethink that issue if he wants to be taken seriously. And I will tell any Republican or right-leaning person, if they're feeling anti-war, that they should reject Donald Trump. Now, if Donald Trump would have praised Biden for withdrawing from Afghanistan, I would have taken him more seriously in the sense that at least he's sticking to his ideals. But Donald Trump is for himself, and that's what it comes down to. He's for himself, and he will say anything just to get the crowd going without even thinking things through. And that's him in a nutshell. And if he had any real street sense about him, if he had the kind of street smarts that he had in 2016, that instinct would have been, hey, I may oppose Joe Biden, but he did the right thing pulling out of Afghanistan. And that part of that will take away from some of his appeal, for partisan reasons, going after Joe Biden and attacking him for actually doing what was considered the right thing to do. So, he blew it right there. That was a tactical mistake on his part. What I think is going to happen, as I said, I think the Republican Party establishment are talking to Trump, and Trump is talking to them behind the scenes. If Trump somehow runs and gets the nomination, you can pretty much consider it the end of the Republican Party. Because while he's the most popular man in the Republican Party right now, there's a lot of folks that don't like him. And I think that I wouldn't put it past Mitt Romney or people like that to vote Democratic in the next election if Trump is the nominee. Because the thing about it is that people like Mitt Romney voted for the Libertarians, I think, in 2016 and 2020. And I think that I know for a fact that Irving Kristol, Bill Kristol, I'm so sorry with names, Bill Kristol, the neocon, voted for Joe Biden and all of that. So there are people that are in the Republican apparatus that hates the hell out of Donald Trump. So what they're going to try to do, what the Republicans want is they do want all the shitty things that Donald Trump is for. You know, the deregulation of Wall Street, the massive tax cuts for the wealthy, you know, some of the culture war rhetoric. And in my opinion, I think that when Donald Trump gets into his culture war rhetoric, I don't think that's who he is. I think he's actually more socially moderate than he lets on, but he's smart enough to know where the red meat is, and he does that to basically win over the lunatic fringe of the far right. What I think that the Republican establishment will do, they will try to negotiate, and they will probably try to throw in a Tom Cotton or Ron DeSantis or someone like that could appeal to what is shitty about Trump to these other folks, but also appeal to the Mitt Romneys and appeal to the Meghan McCains and the appeal to the Ted Cruz's, even the Mitch McConnells, those kind of people, Chris Christie, folks like that. That's what I think is that will end up happening. And I think that they're also going to be talking to some of these Republicans behind the scenes. But mark my words, they do not plan to let Donald Trump be a thing again in 2024. And I could be wrong. I really could be wrong. But I do not think that Donald Trump will be the nominee in 2024. And let alone win the presidency. Now, what's really bad about Donald Trump right now is that even the establishment that hate his guts, they're going to have to owe him a little bit of gratitude if 2022 comes out the way I predict it's going to come out. And I am predicting that the Republicans will regain the U.S. House of Representatives and they will regain the U.S. Senate. That is my prediction. On the bright side of that, they won't be able to impeach Joe Biden because I believe that Joe Biden will no longer be president. I think he will step down. I think that Joe Biden will not run for re-election, and he might step down pretty soon. So he's not even going to serve his full term, in my opinion. And I'm saying this, and I might be wrong, but this is how it appears to me right now. So anyway, these are just some thoughts on my mind right this moment, and I just figure that for those who are worried about Donald Trump being a thing, there are valid circumstances and reasons where I don't see it really happening. So, just for those that are fearful of Trump, relax. It ain't happening. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, well, comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we're the muckrakers of our time. Feel free to also subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're kept up to date with hard-hitting commentary by yours truly. I am American Social Democracy, peace, class struggle, and do not worry about Trump. He's not to be taken seriously. After 2022, he's not to be taken seriously.